Hi, everybody. Welcome to Disrupt Stress, a journey to mindfulness. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Andy Gonzalez. He's the founder of the Holistic Life Foundation, and he's done some magical work in the area of yoga and mindfulness. Andy, would you like to expand a little on what your foundation does?
Yeah, so the Holistic Life Foundation was incorporated late 2001 by myself and the other two founders, Ali and Atman Smith. The three of us really had this idea of bringing together communities with yoga and mindfulness techniques. So providing self-care and self-regulation techniques to enable individuals to manage their stress levels, their anger, their frustration, their emotions in a traumatic environment, both external distractions and internal distractions as well. And now we've been doing this for almost over 17 years now, with a highlight in underserved communities, really focusing on those underserved communities here in Baltimore City, because that's where we're located. It's like where our home base is, but also all across the nation. And we do get highlighted for a lot of the youth work that we do. But we also work with, a wide variety of age groups. So we do drug rehab centers, mental health facilities, homeless shelters, elderly homes, corporations, basically anywhere around the world where people will bring us in to provide these techniques. That's our goal. And one of the main focuses is using a reciprocal teaching model. So when we go into these communities, we provide these techniques, and we want to make sure that the individuals we're teaching have the capabilities of teaching the techniques themselves so that they can go into their homes and into their communities and make an impact. So it's not just us teaching one individual, but it's us teaching one individual, which will go on and teach more people, and they will in turn teach more people, and that's how we intend to make it spread and grow.
I mean, one of the things that I read about you is the Mindful Moment program, which was instrumental in pretty much reducing suspensions to zero. And to me, that's a powerful precedent for anybody who's at a stage where they're contemplating, they're thinking what mindfulness is, or, is this program going to be useful to me? Would you like to say something to our educators, the superintendents watching this program?
Yeah, I think I really appreciate you bringing that up. I think it's very important to know that impact that program did have. It was something that was a surprise, actually, to Ali, Atman, and I when we first were implementing the Mindful Moment program. Was one day walking into the school and looking at the climate report from that elementary school and seeing that there were 0 suspensions. And we almost laughed it off, and we're like, this is pretty funny. You must have fudged these numbers a little to make this happen. And Ali always tells the story of how he remembers the principal laughing at him and being like, what do you mean? Like, the reason that there's 0 suspensions is because of your program. And basically the program is, it's an alternative suspension room. It's created for individuals to come down and kind of get a break from their school day. You can imagine being in school all day long, and it become very overwhelming. So whether the student is losing focus, they're frustrated, they're angry, they may just need to take a moment away from school. They're able to come down to the room. Our staff greets them. They do some active listening, so the student reveals to the staff what's going on and what's causing these frustrations. After we do the active listening, we then recommend a breathing exercise or a meditation practice they can do the next time they're faced with this adversity. And then we give them some tea, and we send them back to their classroom. And what happened was, instead of kids getting in trouble or frustrated or being a distraction and getting sent to the office, they started getting sent to our room. They learned these techniques so they could self-regulate. And so suspension numbers dwindled to a point where there was 0 suspensions in the school. And it's been like that for the last 4 years now, too.
Wow, that's powerful. A lot of people now talk about restorative practices as against punitive practices. And this right here is an example of what you can do when you validate a child for what he's feeling. I know where you are, and I'm coming to that level and working with you together.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and you are starting something new, which is the BAM program, Bridging Academic and the Mind.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us something about that program?
Yeah, so, we understand the amount of workload that teachers have in their day, and it's very overwhelming. So we didn't want to provide a technique where we're giving them more to that burden, adding more to that workload. So we created the Bridging Academics and the Mind curriculum. And what that is it's 3 main things. There's the actual curriculum, which has all the exercises and the kind of steps and instructions on how to facilitate this program. There's audio files, and then there's animations that were actually created by you, which are brilliant animations. And what it is it's exercises that has the three of us, myself and the other two founders, and it brings them into your classroom. And it makes it very easy for the teacher because all they have to do is hit a button. And ideally, the goal of this technique is, or this package is that you come into the classroom, your students are there, and all you do is hit a button, and there's an instructional video, and it'll be one of us in animation form guiding you through a mindfulness practice. That's phase one, is the instructional version. Phase two is the actual just practice. So you remove kind of the instructional side where it's all the benefits of what the practice is doing, how to do it, because after a few months, the kids will have that taken
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And then you do that version where it's just the practical part of the exercise being played. And then phase three is now the students come up to the front of the classroom and they lead the practice.
Okay.
And what the goal is that eventually, ideally, the students will be the ones raising their hands and saying, hey, Miss Johnson, can I lead the class through a breathing exercise? Or can I lead them through a meditation practice before we take this test? And they learn the benefits of the exercises in that reciprocal teaching model. And the whole entire goal is to alleviate this workload from the teachers, is to make it so that now, instead of them having to worry about managing their classroom and the behavior of the kids are doing it themselves. And then all of the focus and all that academic time can squarely be focused on teaching the curriculum of the school instead of mindfulness practices or behavior practices and so on and so forth.
Wow, that way, I mean, the ownership is eventually with the student, and it kind of, you're kind of bringing the intention along with the action in the whole process.
And it makes it so that it can be system wide. So this is a package. You can access this online. There's a platform. It's very, very simple. You just log in. You see the video. You pick which one you want to play. It's a step-by-step process on how to do it, and it becomes very smooth and flowing and synergetic with the class day, so that there is no interruptions, and you're really, really using all of that time for academics efficiently and effectively.
You said that the suspensions went to zero and this is like a community with trauma background, at-risk kids.
Oh yeah, the school is located in northwest Baltimore, and actually is in an area where the Freddie Gray uprising occurred. So it's right in the epicenter of where that occurred. You could see from when it went from the mall to the high school and around. It went around basically this elementary school. So all these kids are faced with pretty traumatic incidences in their lives. It's not uncommon for them to see, unfortunately, someone getting murdered, drug usage. Just recently, one of the young ladies that were in our after school program, unfortunately, she was a victim of a crossfire and a shooting. So she just passed away this last year. It's horrible. Young lady, 7 years old. So this school, they're faced with it all the time. And that's why we wanted to start there. That was the neighborhood where Ali and Atma's mother was from, where they were raised, and where we were living for a long, long time. And near and dear to our hearts. It's amazing. You could see, even though they're faced with these adverse scenarios and situations and surrounded by all of this violence, they're still able to go within themselves and use these practices to be able to manage themselves and to be well behaved and be efficient in the school day.
No, I mean, that's really beautiful. Like, you grew up in the area and now you're giving back to that area. Tell me, how do you think the yoga practice that you did when you were growing up, and Ali and Atman, they did when they grew up, impacted your own mental well-being and helped you have that, what I call as a whole grit, like the resilience to be able to create something like this and make an impact?
Well, I think the entire reason we do the work we do is because of our practice. It's because we got into meditating and using these techniques, and we saw the transformation that it had within us. And without that, I don't think we would do any of this work that we're doing. We were pretty wild guys, and we did these practices, and they transformed us, and they made us see the world in a different way, and be more empathetic and compassionate towards others, and understand the connection between human beings and our entire planet. And I think that was a huge reason why we do what we do, and still to this day why we continue to do what we do, because our practice has made us this way. And we notice that with the youth, as they continue to go inward, they gain a sense of self-worth. They learn to really appreciate and love themselves, and it makes it easier for them to go and love others. And that's why we say we're going into communities and we're breathing love into these communities. We're going in and we're just reminding them of some basic skills and techniques they can do, kind of giving them the package, here you go, and then we step out and let them do it. And we do it all over the world now, and we have phenomenal results. Everywhere we go, where we just are there for a little while, we step back and empower individuals in their communities to make the difference.
That's really beautiful. Now, on this journey, is there something that you learned that you'd like to share with everybody?
Oh my,
I mean, of course, there will be so many things, yeah. But
No.
one thing that sticks with you.
Yeah. I would say if anyone's doing this type of work, or any type of work that you really dream about, is just to keep going. I know there's so many doubters and so many obstacles that we face where we could have easily given up and said, this is impossible. We're not achieving the results we want, or we're not reaching the goals that we want. But if it's something you love and it's going to be beneficial to humanity and to mankind, you just got to keep doing it and don't look for the results. Our teacher used to always say, do the work, don't look for the results, and just keep going and going, and know in your heart that this is what you're supposed to do. So just keep doing it, and so long as you're happy inside, it's going to make a profound difference. I could never imagined that we'd be making the impact that we are right now when we first started. And I always hear my teacher saying, just do the work, just do the work. So do the work, come from an authentic place. Do the practice yourself before you go out there and try to teach others, because then you're coming from that authentic, genuine place of experience, and do it coming from a place of love. We always say that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that's what we want to continue to spread across the world. And if we can get even just one individual take one small step on that journey, walking towards the truth, then we feel like we've done our job, because hopefully eventually they'll be able to continue along the path themselves.
Is there one practice that you want to leave our viewers with?
Sure. I'm a big breathing guy. So just some basic breathing for me, I think, is something, what I can do is a little combo into explaining how to do a correct breath. And as we start taking a few, I lead you into a small little breath meditation.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good. So I'll let you be in the frame.
Okay, sure. All right, so